So let me tell you about the morning my backyard turned into a government operation. Except the government had absolutely nothing to do with it. It was a Sunday, quiet, warm, the kind of morning where everything feels predictable. I'm out by the pool, half awake, skimming leaves, thinking about absolutely nothing important. And then my gate slams open so hard it echoes. Not a knock, not a "hey neighbor," just straight up forced entry energy. I turn around and see this woman marching in like she's late to a press conference. Neon orange vest, mirrored sunglasses, clipboard tucked tight under her arm, and yeah, a megaphone. A full megaphone. And I'm just standing there thinking, okay, this is either a joke or my day just got real weird. She doesn't even slow down, just raises the megaphone and blasts. Attention, this pool is now under community control. I swear to you, she's 3 feet away from me. 3 feet away. And I'm like, ma'am, you don't need the megaphone. She lowers it slowly, gives me this look, like I'm the one being difficult, and says, "Sir, I am Diana Caldwell, newly appointed HOA president, and this property has been temporarily designated as a shared emergency resource." And right there, you feel it. That weird shift. Because it's not just what she's saying, it's how she's saying it. Like it's already decided. Like I missed a meeting where everyone agreed my pool doesn't belong to me anymore. I laugh a little, honestly. I think it's absurd, and I go, "Yeah, no, this is my backyard. My pool." And she tilts her head, almost sympathetic, like she's explaining something to a child. "Not during a drought emergency," she says, pulling out this laminated document like it's sacred. "Under Regional Water Preservation Directive 8B, all private water reserves exceeding 10,000 gallons must be made available for communal distribution." And I'm staring at this paper because it looks official enough at a glance, but something's off. The formatting's weird, the language is vague, and more importantly, I've never heard of it. And I follow local regulations pretty closely. But before I can even respond, more people start walking into my yard. Just walking in. No hesitation. A guy in work boots dragging a hose. A couple carrying folding chairs like they're setting up for a tailgate. Someone rolling a cooler across my patio like we're about to have drinks. And I'm standing there going, what is happening right now? And Diana claps her hands once, sharp, commanding, and goes, "Team, begin extraction." Extraction. Like my pool is a natural resource. And suddenly it's moving fast. The guy hooks up the hose. Someone else is handing out containers. And there's a kid, like 15 maybe, already kneeling by the edge filling gallon jugs. My neighbor Eric leans over the fence with his coffee, squinting like he's trying to process the same insanity I am, and goes, "Are you hosting some kind of event?" And I just shake my head slowly and say, "Apparently, I'm running a water distribution center now." And Diana, she hears that, turns back toward me, steps closer, clipboard ready, and says, "Sir, I need you to step away from the water supply. Unauthorized proximity increases contamination risk." I actually laugh this time, because the audacity is unreal. Contamination? I say. It's my pool. And that's when I notice something that flips the switch in my head. They've zip-tied a sign to my fence. A big one. Bright red letters. Emergency water station. Authorized personnel only. Penalty $500. I walk over, touch it, like maybe it's not real. "You put this on my property?" I ask. And she doesn't even hesitate. HOA Emergency Authority permits temporary requisition of private assets for community welfare. And there it is, that word. Authority. She's not asking. She's not negotiating. She's declaring. And the crazy part? People are going along with it. Because she looks official. Because she sounds confident. Because nobody wants to be the one to say, "Hey, this doesn't make sense." And now it's escalating. The hose is running. Barrels are being filled. Someone's backing a truck into my driveway. And Diana is pacing like a field commander. "We need volume," she says. "Prepare for extended shortages." And I'm watching all of this happen in real time. And I realize something. This isn't about water. Not really. This is about control. She just got elected. First week on the job. And she's trying to prove something. Maybe the board didn't take her seriously before. Maybe she's been waiting for a moment like this. And my pool? It's visible. It's big. It's easy. It's the perfect symbol to take over and say, "Look, I'm in charge now." And the more I watch her, the more obvious it becomes. She doesn't expect pushback. She expects compliance. And for a second, she gets it. Because nobody stops her. Nobody questions her. Not the neighbors, not the people filling containers, not even me. Yet. But then I pull out my phone, step to the side, and make a quick call. I keep it simple. Hey, random question. Are private residential pools part of any official emergency water program? There's a pause on the line, then a confused voice. No, sir, that's not a thing. We use hydrants and municipal reserves. And that's it. That's all I needed. Because now I know, this entire operation, it's built on nothing. No law, no protocol, just confidence and assumption. And I look back at Diana, still directing people like she's running a crisis response team, and I smile a little, because I'm not confused anymore. Now I'm just interested. Because if she wants to play authority, if she wants to build this whole situation on fake rules and pressure, then fine. I'll play too. I'll just play smarter. And trust me, she's not going to like how this ends. All right, pause for a second, because what you're watching here isn't just some random HOA drama. It's actually a textbook case of how authority gets manufactured out of thin air. According to standard procedure, HOAs operate within very specific boundaries. They can enforce community rules, issue fines, maybe regulate aesthetics, but they do not have the power to seize or repurpose private property on the spot, especially not under some vague emergency they invented themselves. From a legal perspective, what Diana is doing crosses multiple lines at once: trespassing, unauthorized use of private property, and potentially liability exposure if anyone gets sick or hurt using that water. And here's the important part. None of that matters if nobody challenges it in the moment. Because this is a psychological trap, people tend to obey perceived authority, not verified authority. You throw on a safety vest, carry a clipboard, speak with urgency, and suddenly your words feel official, even if they're completely made up. Add a group dynamic, neighbors seeing other neighbors comply, and now you've got social proof reinforcing the illusion. Nobody wants to be the first person to say, wait, this isn't right. And that hesitation, that's exactly the space where fake authority grows. Diana wasn't just making rules. She was creating a situation where questioning her felt socially uncomfortable. And that's powerful, until someone calmly breaks the script. So now I've got confirmation. This whole thing is built on nothing. And suddenly, everything feels different. Same people, same backyard, same ridiculous operation, but now I'm not reacting anymore. I'm observing. And once you see it clearly, you start to notice the cracks. The way people hesitate before filling another container. The way they keep glancing at Diana like they need reassurance. The way the whole thing depends on her constant direction to keep moving. It's fragile, way more fragile than it looks. So I decide, I'm not going to shut this down with force. I'm not going to argue or start yelling, because that plays right into her script. No, I'm going to step into her version of reality and let it collapse under its own weight. I raise my voice just enough, calm, not aggressive. Hey, quick question for the team. That word, team, it hooks them immediately, because now it sounds like I'm part of the operation. A few people turn, the guy with the hose pauses mid-flow, and Diana pivots toward me, already suspicious. I keep it light, almost helpful. Have we completed contamination testing on this water yet? And there it is, that moment. That tiny pause where her brain has to catch up. What? She says, sharp, like she didn't hear me right. I start walking slowly toward the equipment shed, hands relaxed, like this is routine. Well, I say, if we're distributing this as an emergency supply, there should be documented testing, bacterial levels, chemical balance, liability clearance, standard protocol. Now people are really paying attention. The teenager filling jugs stops completely, looks at the water like it just turned suspicious. One of the neighbors holding a bucket lowers it slowly, like they're reconsidering every decision that led them here. Diana straightens up, trying to recover control. The water is perfectly safe, she says, but there's a crack in it now. Not big, but enough. And I don't push hard. I just tilt my head slightly and ask, are you certified to verify that? Silence. Not dramatic, just uncomfortable. The kind that spreads. I pull out my phone again, glance at it casually. Because I can call the county health department, I add, just to make sure we're compliant before distributing anything to the public. And now you can actually feel the shift. People stepping back, conversation stopping, That invisible thread holding everything together starting to fray. The guy with the hose shuts it off completely this time. Someone sets their container down. Nobody wants to be the first person responsible if this suddenly becomes a problem. Diana steps toward me, voice tighter now, more controlled but definitely strained. That won't be necessary, she says. And I nod, like I agree. I get that, I say. But if this is officially designated as an emergency resource, then any contamination issue falls on whoever authorized it. I let that sit for a second. Then I open the shed door. Slowly, deliberately. Not dramatic, just inevitable. And if there's even a small chance this water hasn't been cleared, I continue, just loud enough for everyone. Standard emergency protocol requires immediate quarantine and disposal. And that's when it hits her. You can see it, like a light turning on behind her eyes. She finally understands the direction this is going. And for the first time since she walked in, she doesn't have control of it. You can't do that, she snaps, stepping forward, dropping the polished tone completely now. You cannot destroy a community resource. And I just look at her for a second. Really look, because now we're at the core of it. Not rules, not water, control. And I shrug. Better safe than sorry, I say. Then I reach down, and I grab the main drain valve. Now if you've never heard a pool drain at full release, it's not subtle. It's not polite. It's immediate. I twist the valve, and boom, that deep rushing sound hits, like the ground just gave up holding onto something. Water surges out fast, powerful, unstoppable, flowing straight into the drainage system. And for a second, nobody moves. It's like the entire backyard freezes, trying to process what just happened. Then the reactions hit all at once. Stop, Diana yells, rushing forward. But she's too late. Gravity already took over. The teenager stares at his half-filled jug like it's suddenly useless. The guy with the hose just drops it. People step back instinctively, like the situation just turned real in a way they didn't sign up for. And Diana, she's unraveling now. This is destruction of community property, she shouts, voice cracking, trying to grab onto any authority she has left. But I'm already pulling up my phone again, scrolling for half a second before turning the screen toward her. Actually, I say, calm as ever, this is registered private property. I tap the screen lightly, which means I can drain it, refill it, or leave it empty my call. And that's it. That's the moment everything flips completely. Because now there's no illusion left. No authority. No operation. Just reality. Kyle, my neighbor, is laughing openly now, leaning over the fence like he's watching the best show of the week. Man, he calls out, you really just did that. And I can't help it. I smile a little. Because yeah, I did. Not out of anger. Not out of spite. Just precision. Within minutes, the water level drops fast. Tiles exposed, steps visible, that blue shimmer fading into bare concrete. 10 minutes later, it's gone. Completely gone. And what's left is almost surreal. A group of people standing around a dry, empty shell, holding containers they don't need anymore, looking like they just woke up from something they can't quite explain. Diana stands there, breathing hard, clutching her clipboard like it might still give her control. But there's nothing left to control. No team, no resource, no authority, just consequences. She straightens up, tries to rebuild that composure one last time. You'll be hearing from the board, she says. And I nod, like I've been expecting that the whole time. I hope so, I tell her, because I'll be mentioning the trespassing, the signage, and the false claims. And just like that, she's done. No comeback, no argument. She turns, gestures to what's left of her team, and they start packing up quietly. No megaphone this time. No commands. Just people leaving one by one, avoiding eye contact, the whole operation dissolving as fast as it appeared. And when the last car pulls out of my driveway, Kyle leans over again, still grinning. So what's next, he asks. I look at the empty pool, then back at him, and I shrug. Next, I say, now we rebuild it better. So here's what stuck with me after all of that. It wasn't the yelling, it wasn't the absurdity of people lining up with buckets in my backyard. It was how easy it all started. Nobody forced their way in after that first moment. Nobody questioned the setup once it looked official enough. And that's the part most people underestimate. According to standard procedure, authority isn't just about rules on paper, it's about perception. If something feels structured, organized, urgent, people will often accept it before they verify it. And that's exactly what happened here. Diana didn't need real power. She just needed people to believe she had it. From a legal perspective, the system actually protects you more than you think, but only if you understand where the lines are. HOAs have influence, sure, but it's limited. They operate within contracts and local laws, not above them. The moment someone steps outside that, making up emergency powers, overriding ownership, creating fake penalties, they're no longer acting as an authority. They're just hoping nobody calls them out. And most of the time, that works. Not because people are naive, but because confrontation is uncomfortable. And that leads right into the deeper layer of this whole thing. This is a psychological trap, not just for the people following orders, but even for the person giving them. When someone gets a taste of authority, especially if they've felt overlooked or powerless before, it can turn into overcompensation real fast. They start believing their own narrative. They stop checking themselves. And the more people comply, the more justified they feel. It becomes a feedback loop. Control creates compliance. Compliance reinforces control, until something breaks it. And here's the key. Breaking it doesn't require aggression. That's the mistake most people make. They think you have to fight louder, push harder, escalate. But that usually just feeds the chaos. The lesson here is, calm clarity is way more disruptive than confrontation. When you stay composed, ask the right questions, and understand the structure better than the person misusing it, you shift the entire dynamic. You take control without making it a power struggle. That's what happened here. I didn't win because I was louder or tougher. I won because I stopped playing the role she expected me to play. And once that happened, everything else unraveled on its own. Now think about your own life for a second. How many times have you seen something that didn't feel right, but you went along with it anyway because it seemed official or because everyone else was going along with it? It happens more than we like to admit. At work, in communities, even in everyday interactions. And most of the time, it's harmless, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's someone overstepping, testing boundaries, seeing how much control they can get away with. And in those moments, the difference between the situation escalating or collapsing comes down to one thing. Does anyone question it intelligently? Not emotionally, not aggressively, intelligently. So yeah, that's the story of how my pool got turned into a community resource and then disappeared 10 minutes later. But the bigger story? It's about how easily authority can be faked and how quickly it falls apart when someone understands the rules behind it. So I'll leave you with this. What would you have done? Would you have shut it down immediately? Called someone? Played along like I did? Or just watched it unfold? Drop your take in the comments. Because honestly, the way people respond to situations like this says a lot more than the situation itself.